Hi, I'm Chris Doyle, and I'm General Manager of the Marcellus Shale at Anadarko. I wanted to say a few words about the importance of environmental health and safety, or EHS, at Anadarko and your role in achieving our goals. While we have many priorities as a team, the safety and well-being of all personnel on an Anadarko location is absolutely our top priority. A healthy environment and a safe workplace are critical to our business success. In fact, it is our EHS record that has differentiated Anadarko in Pennsylvania, and we need to ensure that we live up to that reputation. It's a reputation of leadership within industry, and it relies on each of you. Anadarko can't accomplish our work without the help of our contractors. We truly appreciate the contribution from each of our contractors, but let me be clear. Contractors must conduct operations in a manner consistent with Anadarko's policies, or they simply will not work for us. Anadarko's expectations for our EHS performance are very high, and we expect nothing less from our contractors. Keep in mind that Anadarko doesn't own the land on which we operate. We lease that land. We are essentially a guest on other people's property, and we should treat it as such. Always be respectful of landowners and be respectful of the environment. The video you're about to watch outlines the basic environmental guidelines for the Appalachia region. Everyone working on an Anadarko location must follow these guidelines and integrate them throughout our business. The video won't address every situation. Rather, it provides a set of standards and rules that, when applied properly, will ensure we protect our people, the environment, and our assets. If a situation arises that's not covered on this video, don't hesitate to seek out clarification from your supervisor or an EHS representative. We have built a very strong EHS culture in the Appalachia region, and our track record speaks for itself. Our challenge is to continually improve our performance. I encourage you to identify where we can improve and share your ideas with your supervisor or local EHS rep. Our EHS performance is the backbone of our operations. It is our legacy against which we will be measured for years to come. While we are continually stretching to hit production targets or meet deadlines, let me emphasize to you that no target, no deadline is more important than the safety of our people and the protection of the environment. If we can't do it safely, we simply won't do it.
Anadarko Petroleum Corporation, or APC, recognizes and appreciates the unique environment and natural beauty of the Appalachian region and strives to be good stewards in all areas that we operate. Our goal is strict adherence to all federal, state, and local guidelines, laws, and regulations, and we will immediately report any issues to the appropriate regulatory agency while striving for zero spills and discharges. All spills are to be reported to the Anadarko supervisor or Anadarko EHS. Anadarko will determine if the spill needs to be reported to the appropriate regulatory agency. If the Anadarko supervisor or Anadarko EHS is not available, report to the 24-hour emergency number 800-738-9816. All contractor vehicle incidents associated with Anadarko activities are to be reported to the Anadarko supervisor as soon as practicable. The contractor has the responsibility to notify the appropriate agency as soon as practicable when a vehicle incident occurs off the Anadarko lease road. The contractor must call 911 if any of the following conditions exist: injury, vehicle or other property damage, vehicle not drivable, spill, or potential for spill. If there is a spill or if there is the potential for a spill, the contractor must notify the PADEP at 570-327-3636. Spill awareness training will be required on a per-job basis, including all drilling, completion, and production-related activities. Periodic training refreshers will be conducted at the discretion of the operations manager or on-site Anadarko supervisor. Anadarko personnel, supervisors, service personnel, truck drivers, owners, managers of water tanks, water hauling companies, flowback treatment companies, and any other entity or person that deals with fluid transfer will require training. Supervisory personnel will ensure any applicable contractor has received training and signed the General Spill Awareness Guidelines and/or APC Water Hauling Guidelines document as appropriate. All personnel need to check in at the guard shack prior to entering an Anadarko location. Please be aware that the guard may ask you for identification and/or training credentials. Daily EHS discussions and documentation will be held on all job locations. Specific spill prevention for upcoming activities will be discussed. Zero spill location signs will be located at entry gates indicating our intention to achieve zero spills. In addition, zero spill location signs will be posted on the company man trailer. Equipment layout, storage equipment, and tank positioning should be designed and placed to prevent off-pad spills. The on-site supervisor and EHS personnel should evaluate and agree on site-specific spill prevention layout. All containers moved using forklifts will be properly secured during transport. All forklift operators must be properly trained and certified for operation of the forklift equipment being utilized. Lockout, tagout all valves before any line or fittings are opened. Recycling is recognized as an environmentally and safety-friendly practice, and our goal is to recycle all water possible, including pits, flowbacks, and produced water. All recycling needs to be monitored and supervised at all times, and should be completed on impermeable liners and/or spill mats. Water from a designated acid mine discharge site, or AMD, and/or treated AMD water is not to be considered fresh and shall be handled in accordance with Anadarko policies associated with flowback and/or produced water. As part of the Eyes On initiative, all fluid transfers on Anadarko locations involving drilling, completion, well servicing, or fluid storage activities will be monitored by an Anadarko employee and/or designated Anadarko contractor. This includes tank-to-tank, truck-to-tank, truck-to-truck, pit-to-pit, pit-to-truck, and pit-to-tank transfers. The only exception is when loading from a permitted fresh water source or offloading fresh water from a transport trailer. For on-location transfers, no fluid transfers at night or during crew change unless fully supervised and in the presence of sufficient light to ensure adequate visibility at all potential spill points. No fluid transfers during severe rain or snow events that would impair the ability to detect a leak. Fluid handling protocols and procedures regarding fluid monitoring should be posted. Obtain site supervisor approval prior to any fluid transfer operation. Prior to any fluid transfer, inspect and document proper working conditions, alignment and operation of all valves, piping, manifolds, floats, discharge outlets, and seals. Also, inspect, verify, and document all spill prevention equipment, berms, liners, mats, shutdown devices, etc. are in good working order and properly installed. All Anadarko employees or drivers working for Anadarko should wear a seatbelt. Follow the Anadarko water hauling guidelines for specific loading requirements for trucks. Ask your supervisor or an Anadarko representative for a copy of the guidelines. Drivers hauling fluids for Anadarko should place drip pans under pumps, engines, or any equipment brought onto location that is subject to leaking. Use catch basins under hose disconnects. Completely drain transfer lines before disconnecting a hose. Personally verify that a tank being filled is properly sealed with plugs or valves. Personally check the level in a tank to ensure the tank will not overflow. Replace plugs on a tank and utilize Teflon tape. Stand near a pump during an entire pumping operation. Report all spills immediately to Anadarko or to an on-site supervisor. Water hauling trucks need to be equipped with, as required under Pennsylvania Act 90, a spill kit, fire extinguisher, Teflon tape, grease, pipe wrench, 2 catch basins, and a 2-pound rubber maul. All drivers must utilize Anadarko specified PPE equipment. All fluid haulers working in Pennsylvania will have a copy of and should understand Pennsylvania Act 90, Waste Transportation Safety Act. Manifests or run tickets will be prepared, and the on-site supervisor is responsible for ensuring compliance. These will be attached to all invoices for storage in SAP or other electronic storage media and will be a condition of payment. Vacuum pumps will be required on all freshwater trucks. All water tanks new to Anadarko should be cleaned and inspected prior to arriving on an Anadarko location. All unused valves are to be plugged. All gaskets are to be inspected. An equipment inspection log will be kept at all times and is the responsibility of the on-site supervisor. Each bolt on frac tank manifolds must be tightened. Liners will be placed under any tank not containing fresh water and must be sufficiently bermed to prevent off-pad release of fluids. Containment around the perimeter of location would normally be considered to be an adequate berm. If a liner is not utilized on site, spill mats will be used under any potential leak source, including but not limited to recycled equipment, frac equipment, flowback equipment, and pump truck engines. All permanent non-fresh water fluid tanks and produced water tanks greater than 100 barrels will be equipped with visual level indicator sensors and or alarms. In addition to eyes on during fluid handling operations, multiple daily inspection or spill prevention walks of non-freshwater tanks will be conducted and documented by supervisory personnel on all active drilling, completion, and well servicing activities. Winterizing and freeze prevention must be designed into any tank storage operation. It is important to ensure that no fresh water is contaminated. Any impoundment or portadam will be limited to freshwater only. Any impoundment or portadam will be engineered in such a way as to prevent natural water sources from floating the liner and to prevent stormwater from entering the impoundment or portadam. Fluid transfers via pipeline will be limited to freshwater only. All freshwater transfer lines are to be hydro-tested to anticipated operating pressures prior to being placed into service. During active operations, all freshwater transfer lines are to be inspected prior to each frac stage. The buddy system should be utilized during transfer line inspections when the freshwater lines are not out in the open. Freshwater transfer lines that are connected to storage tanks will contain a check valve near the valve at the storage tank to prevent potential gravity flowback. If a check valve is not in line at the storage tank, the valve at the storage tank will be locked in the closed position and opened only by an Anadarko employee or Anadarko representative. Freshwater transfer lines placed near lease road right-of-way are to be placed away from the road so as not to interfere with potential vehicle traffic or road grading operations. Any freshwater transfer lines that are within 10 feet of the potential path of a vehicle on the roadway will be staked with markers and or safety fence identifying the location of the freshwater transfer line to vehicle traffic. On drilling locations, the mud engineer is responsible for conducting detailed daily inspection of all mud-related tankage, manifolding, pumps, piping, lining, and containment, and recording results of said inspection under comments section in the daily mud report. After drilling operations and prior to initiating completion operations at a pad site, an impermeable liner will be installed to encompass the planned surface activities. Any potential source of leaks, such as pumps, light plants, and chemical tanks, will have adequate spill mats or containments. In addition, truck staging areas and non-freshwater containers will have a liner or containment. Inspections of the liner will be conducted at least daily, and any tears or rips in the liner will be repaired. Any bermed areas utilized at the completion site will be inspected on a daily basis and repaired as needed. Third-party personnel will be on location during frac operations for continuous inspection of equipment, fluid transfer, and pumping operations. A vacuum truck will be deployed during each frac. A backhoe may be deployed on frac sites as outlined in the completions plan. Flowback equipment will have containment rings on separators and mats under vessels. Fired vessels must be at least 150 feet from a wellhead, and a slug catcher vessel will be placed upstream of the flare on extended tests that are planned to last more than 24 hours. It should be noted, a fired vessel may be located as close as 100 feet to a well if the fired vessel is equipped with a flame arrestor. Temporary water treatment operations will be performed on an impermeable liner. A vacuum truck and backhoe may be deployed on flowback sites at the discretion of the production superintendent. Permanent production water and condensate storage tanks should be equipped with level gauges capable of remote monitoring. Tanks should be inside secondary containment with full liner underneath. Secondary containment is to exceed the volume of the largest tank plus freeboard. Hydrostatic testing fluid will be fresh water only and will be recycled and/or properly disposed. Used hydrostatic test water will not be surface discharged. Used hydrostatic test water is not to be considered fresh and shall be handled in accordance with the same procedures as handling flowback and produced fluids. Fluids collected during pigging operations will be placed into tanks and recycled and/or properly disposed.
Thank you for all that you do for Anadarko. You are a part of a team that is leading the way in developing this important resource.